T-Town right now. Not this. It's South Alabama's #1 podcast, Drive Time with DJ and KJ.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to Drive Time. The best worst show ever. Good morning, Lori Woodard, John Blair.
Sometimes ever does mean ever.
Sometimes.
Without the four.
Not on second hall. Good morning, Stephanie Floyd. Chris. Say it again. Migalakio. Hope we're close. Good morning, Chris. Thanks for being with us. Good morning, Tracy Miller. PGP's in. Good morning to you. Sandy Townsend. Good morning. Wanda Green. Good morning. Alan Howard. Good morning, Gord. Renee Johnson. Good morning. Jesse James. There she is. Good morning, Jesse James.
Good morning, Jesse.
Lynn Ellis. Karen Peters. Ryan Joyner. Good morning to each of you. Sandy Kirkland. Good morning. Good morning, Ken Wood.
Good morning, DJ. And as you can see, up behind us, we have I think is what the beginnings of a phenomenon. I mean, that's
been a minute since I've seen that.
That's all I really know how to say about it. Is it's truly turned into a phenomenon.
Do you tell me where that picture came from?
I do. Yes.
You know, we
well, first let me say this. Obviously, cheese can still be browned, right?
Cheese can, but what is available to us in our local supermarkets is not cheese. You know,
so there is a distinction.
When you didn't think 2020 could get any more bizarre, if you want cheese in Bruton, Alabama, you have to bootleg it in. I mean, who'd have thunk it?
Like for real.
You have to bootleg it in.
Like you can't.
It's not available in Bruton.
So you can't go to the deli at any of these grocery stores and say, hey, I want y'all to cut me some real cheese. They don't have it, is what you're saying.
I don't think so. But I'm good. That's going to be my next step in trying to unravel this riddle.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but yes, please tell us about this picture.
Okay, I can't tell you how many people I had send me pictures of cheese toast. And for those of you who may not know, cheese toast is my go-to. That is my snack of snacks. Eat it often. Love it. Back in the day, you could brown cheese toast as you see before you. That's the way I prefer it. I actually like it even a little more than that. I like it when it bubble up and crack and, I guess, for lack of a better word, burn.
Crispy.
Yeah. Well, I have since found it, and you could do that with Kraft singles. You could do it with Kraft singles back in the day.
Sure.
Well, somewhere along the way, they changed the cheese, and now all it does is basically melt away. I mean, it doesn't discolor. It just melts away. The bread around it will get toasty and burn, but the cheese itself, it won't. Well, anyway, several good friends here in the Drive Time family sent me pictures. They were conducting their own in-home experiments with cheese toast, and they were validating and verifying what I was saying. Well, lo and behold, Kim Hayes, our sweet friend and the proprietor of Mark's, sent me this picture. So that, of course, started a lot of dialogue between her and I. I said, "Where'd you get the cheese?" And she sent a picture of the package, and it came from Sam's. And she told me the next time I come through to get a 3-piece snack and or a twister, that she's going to hook me up with a couple of slices of it to take home for a late afternoon snack.
So
that's awesome.
So you have discovered that there is a difference between the cheese available to us,
yeah,
and the cheese that you have to bootleg in.
I had to bootleg in, yeah.
And that is just.
I'm glad to know it's still out there that you can find it.
Yeah, well, no doubt. Donald Thompson, good morning. Raj, good morning to you. Sandy Kirkland, good morning to you as well. Tracy Steele, good morning. Joshua Gibson, good morning. Sharon Smith, good morning to you. Hot Rod in the house. Eric Bailey, good morning, Eric. Lisa Tyndall, good morning to you. John Blair, Bigfoot's hideout. That's about right. Danny Smith, good morning to you up on the hill. Ashley Morris, good morning, Ashley. Miss Diane McKenzie, good morning, Miss Diane. Ray Stewart, good morning to you. Chevy Ann, good morning, Chevy Ann. Let's see here. Morning, Mother.
Good morning, Miss James.
If it has plastic, you have to peel it off. It ain't cheese. That's what Lisa Tyndall says.
It is. I
gotta kind of agree with that. Like listen, I do have to point this out. I'm amazed at how many experiments. Well, why don't you may not want to name names to save the innocent, but why don't you tell how many actual pictures of cheese toast that you have received and experiments that have been conducted since your fascination of well-browned cheese has come to light?
In addition to the one you see on the backdrop, which Kim chose to go with 3 pieces, I had 4 other people send me their pictures of their experiments, and each of them went with 4 pieces of cheese toast, which is always my go-to number.
4.
When I make cheese toast, I make 4.
White or wheat?
Yes.
Either.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'll do the flatbread, anything that's a bread-like item. If it's a roll, I'll throw a cheese on there and boom, I'll rock it. Yeah.
As long as it's bread.
Yeah. Yes.
As long as it started somewhere along the way being bread.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you're telling me if all you had was some bunny hot dog buns.
Yeah, I've done it.
You fillet them open?
Hamburger, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Butterfly that thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And take care of business. Mm-hmm.
But this excites me.
Well,
Knowing
listen.
that I can have this again. It's been, we've just recently started talking about it. This has been going on for 10 years. They changed the cheese 10 years ago.
So I remember you saying that. So have you been on the hunt, so to speak, for the cheese that will brown?
No.
Or did this, because of the quarantine we did, isn't that when it kind of started for you? You kept kind of experimenting on things?
Well, no, what it was is I just took it. In that instance, with regards to cheese toast, I became a sheep. I said, I refused to get answers. I refused to find out what happened to the cheese. I just took it. But now this is giving me motivation that it is out there, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm not saying that Kraft doesn't have a good reason of why they changed the cheese. I just want them to share it with all of us.
Yeah, we do. Some of us would like to know what that is. Yeah. And would like to know very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, what's the secret? Why?
I mean, so you said this. You saw this change come about 10 years ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, one day I'm going to eat making my snack and say, "Hey, cheese and
okay." Did the taste change any at all?
It has. It definitely changed, but I've become accustomed to it because I've been eating it this way for 10 years.
Right.
It's still edible. I still enjoy it, but it's not that.
Yeah. Well, that looks really good.
Oh God, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. You can take 2 of them and put them together and just eat it like a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm telling you, man, that looks really good.
Yeah. But I think the better part of it, to me, the best part of the story, and we've talked about over and over and over again that this is the greatest community in the world, and it is.
It absolutely is.
You tell me another eatery that you can go to, and I'm not talking about your buddy, your part-time help sliding you something out the back door, where the owner of an eating establishment will slide you 3 pieces of cheese in addition to the order that you get from their restaurant, so you can go home and have a snack the way you like it.
Through the drive-thru.
Through the drive-thru. I mean, I think most everybody here knows Kim Hayes. I mean,
along with a large twister.
Before this, Kim was the salt of the earth.
Sure.
Before this.
Sure.
But I mean, that just is, we don't need daily proof, but this is another example. Yeah. I mean, you just can't get that anywhere.
We get reaffirmation of just what we say every day of the week, don't we?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, it really is.
It's amazing.
It really is. I'm telling you, I was amazed when all this started happening. Let me ask you this: so, has this browned grilled cheese been put on the menu anywhere? Especially at Mark's, because I mean, look at the way that looks. I don't think that's a hard sell, is it?
Not to me. Not to me.
I just don't.
I look at that right there and I see a $3.99 combo all day long.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see here. D-Tom said he used to get hoop cheese from the store at Burnt Corn, cut it right off the wheel. Ray Stewart said he's going to Sam's Club today. Good morning, Tiffany White. JP, good morning, Jennifer Parker. I think she's got Hey, she's got a daughter that's turning 17 today. Did I see that right?
You did.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to her. Yes, it is cheese toast for sure. And no, we don't have any Grey Poupon. Be on the hill soon. No buffet and salad bar means a lot less work before we can open. Oh, wow. Well, hey, at least you're getting to stay open, Dan. That's all that matters. Let's see here. Good morning, Earl Crook. I see some talk of cinnamon toast here. Are you a cinnamon toast fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You like that as well?
As long as it's heavy on the cinnamon.
Good morning, Melanie French. Cody Fowler, good morning to you, man. Jolene Axon says I've seen someone put sugar on theirs. Have you ever put white sugar?
Nope. I
don't know about that either. So DJ needs to make his cheese toast with hoop cheese. You like hoop cheese?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Tasha Presley, good morning to you. DJ's probably using Cheese Whiz. I can think of things he could use that for. For sure.
I would love to see Mark's have a cheese toast special.
Listen,
I'd go get it.
If that happens, if they put that out there on the marquee or on the sign, I'm going to tell you.
That would be great.
That'd be the greatest thing that I've seen on a sign in Bruton in a while.
3-piece cheese toast combo, $3.99.
Yeah, few fries to go with it.
That would be great.
And a cold unsweet tea to wash it
Kim,
down.
I'll have the cheese toast basket. Give me the 3-piece. Give me a 2-piece cheese toast basket with an O-ring. I bet she might do it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to text her. And I'm going to encourage her to do it.
Listen.
I would support it. I swear to you I would.
I don't think you're the only one.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, man, there's a lot of people that likes a good grilled cheese.
I'll tell you, I'm going to,
It is. Let's see here. Hey, I was at Antigone's Tuesday to pick up some boutique items for the daughter. While checking out, some nice gentleman poured me a cup of their choice coffees and even a big Danish from Simply Donuts, DJ.
Say it again.
Lynn Ellis said she was at Antigone's on Tuesday to pick up some boutique items for the daughter. And while checking out, some nice gentleman poured her a cup of their choice coffees and even a big Danish from Simply Donuts.
Wow.
I don't know that I know what a Danish is.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like a honey bun with a fruit filling.
Oh, okay. I do know what that is. Tracy Miller said, heavy on the sugar with the cinnamon. She likes to have sugar poured on her and glitter. I think, yeah. She and I talked about how long it took to get glitter off of us and clothes and everything else from 2 years ago. When that glitter started flying, it started flying. Bad. Let's see.
I'll send it.
PGP says she wants some cheese toast for breakfast. Won't you run some by her?
Hey, we might all be having it for lunch.
Hey,
I'll send her a text.
I'll tell you what. If she puts that out there on that billboard, I will be in line to get it.
I'll be going to get it.
I promise you.
I'm going to tell you what I sent to her.
And we're going to take pictures of it.
We got to support Kim if she does it.
Hey, if she does it, if you love a grilled cheese, get down to Mark's and see Kim.
Good morning. I have an idea. How about a 2 or a 3-piece cheese toast basket combo as a special?
I love it, man.
Kim might do it.
I mean, that sounds fantastic. I mean, you're right. She may do it.
What'll be your 2 sides? I'll have an O-ring and a twister. He's bar, please.
You said. Dude, you said.
Oh!
You said a ring and
My back's hurting.
oh my gosh. Man, don't ever do that again. Listen,
boy, I can't wait for Dr. Mackey to call in.
I was looking forward to this morning with Dr. Mackey gonna be calling in, the state Alabama superintendent of schools, and looking forward to having him in. I wonder if he likes O-rings and twisters. Is it gonna be some ring toss at your house later on?
Oh man, it's Thursday.
Man, I like it. Lynn Ellis, hey, we start like what Chick-fil-A did, said eat more cheese. I mean, you know.
Can you see Kim going to the grocery store and getting 15 loaves of bread for the combos? Order up.
I hope she does. I really do, man. I hope she does.
Another 3-piece.
I mean,
chicken? No, cheese toast.
Man, I'm telling you, dude, my stomach hurts.
Golly.
Seriously. I mean that my stomach really hurts right now. But that wasn't probably good. Golly. So save the Red Room talk for later. Well, that was just too much, man. I mean, I don't know if I can handle much more of that. Now, I do want to say this. You know, are you going to ask Dr. Mackey, does he like cheese?
I tell you, we're gonna cover a lot of things with Dr. Mackey.
I know that we got a little bit of axe to grind with him.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna grind. That's the first and foremost.
Speaking of axe to grind, did you see Coach Tubberville's bus?
I did.
What happened? I didn't get to read the article.
No, it kind of hits home. It was having a mechanical repair, and that was on a test drive from a shop.
You're kidding me. Oh my Lord. Hey, I feel your pain, man.
All I could think about was going back and saying, Corey, we got a problem. Tubbs bus is on fire. 31.
Yeah. All those fire trucks that just went by is headed to your.
All I did was replace a coil pack.
Yeah.
Well, it's on fire.
But they do have computers that can tell you that something's around 103 miles an hour too, don't they?
Yes. Yes.
That was eye-opening.
Yes, it was.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, Dr. Mackey will be on in a little bit, and we're looking forward to having him on, and always a good time when he's on the program. And of course, you know, we do have a few bones to pick with him about his choice of exclusivity.
Wouldn't see calling in at
8 o'clock.
What time is it?
It is 10 minutes till 8.
Dr. Mackey in 10.
Dr. Mackey in 10. That's it. The great cheese toast.
Comeback. It's a comeback.
It is what
cheese
it
toast
is.
is coming back.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to bring it back.
I think Kim's going to put that on the marquee.
Well, if she doesn't, let me tell you this. If she wants to have a fantastic lunch today, let her put that up there. Because I can tell you right now, I know that I will in there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, for sure. So, man, golly, that's, I mean, that is just crazy, man. Just crazy. But real good on top of it. And all this started because you could not get the cheese to brown.
The cheese has changed.
Yeah. The cheese, that's got to be a hashtag.
Cheese has changed.
Eat more cheese. Bring back real cheese, or go buy real cheese.
I guess I'd be interested to know why they changed it and why it was such a big secret.
I don't know. Good morning, Demetria Nettles. Great good morning. That's right. Gentlemen and everyone. Well, she's talking to everyone else. You and I.
That's right, yeah.
You and I are the everyone.
Good morning, Demetria.
I don't know if we qualify in the gentleman, but thank you there. Good morning to you, Demetria. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Lynn Ellis said pickles on the side.
I've never eaten a pickle. Not even on accident.
Me neither.
I've never eaten a pickle. I've eaten a cucumber.
Not me. I don't like them. Not going to look at them. I mean, I'm done with that. Yeah, no. Good morning, Coach Tiempo. Man, I'm kind of glad that calmed down there for a minute because I thought we was fixing to need some oxygen for real. Jessica said she loves her job. Please don't get her fired with that O-ring talk. I'm sure he's probably tossed a ring or two before.
60% of the time, it works every time.
You know what I'm saying? So, let's see here. So, Stephen Floyd says she eats cinnamon toast most mornings, and you're making her want cheese toast.
Love it.
Morning, Joey Salter. I'll tell you what, man, that toast up behind us does look good, though.
Oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like.
I mean, it really does. I'm getting a message from one of the producers of this show, and there are many, that an official video from Kraft Scientist has been found, and it will be posted later for all to see.
Well, good.
Now, will that change your opinion on cheese after watching it scientifically be broke down?
It's not. I don't understand what the secret was. I don't understand why there wasn't more transparency when they made the change. And I guess I'm sure it had to do with profits. I'm sure that taking the cheese out of it makes it more profitable for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's any cheese in cheese anymore.
I don't think so. And I think isn't cheese one of the 5 or 6 food groups? It used to be.
I mean, I think it used to be.
They take it out?
No, if they have, I mean, I
don't know. I know that I eat a lot that they were not forthcoming in what they did with the cheese. It's been 10 years.
Hey, let me tell you something. D-Tom was just talking about that the cheese and the MREs. Let me tell you something. I don't believe that you could have took a torch to that cheese and browned it up. No, that wasn't cheese. That was some sort of configuration that was colored yellow, but it wasn't cheese. It was made to stop you up, like for real. So, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I do remember that for sure, D-Tom. Good morning, Matt Hodge. Looking forward to hearing from our state superintendent. Yes, sir, we are too. Sister's in. Good morning, sister.
Good morning, sister.
Yeah, Danny. Our presence is requested in the principal's office.
I've been there.
Wouldn't be the first time at all. I've had had one of those chairs up there that was pretty much looking at me. Look here, now I'm another tip coming in from the hotline: processed versus real. How about that?
Well, there you go.
I think that might be worthy of putting up on the big screen. What you think?
Sure.
Or do you think that might do more damage than good? I mean, let's be honest. That is kind of disheartening to look at that. Is it not? I mean, when you look at that and see processed cheese, I guess, is the fake stuff, right? So natural would be the real. And to see the difference is really kind of, but even natural, if you look, it still has it like browned.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has to do with the type of cheese.
Kraft singles used to brown. Kraft singles no longer brown.
So it doesn't have to do with the type.
No.
So American,
Absolutely not.
any of that kind of stuff doesn't matter.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, see, I thought maybe it where things had went awry, if you will.
No.
But that's not the case. Well, okay. That's good. Let's see if we put that up real quick. Show everybody what that is. Let's see. All right, here we go. And now let's see if we can't get that up on this screen here somehow. I don't. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So let's look right here.
Darren's brother's in. Good morning, Darren's brother.
So this sent in from our on the spot team, the BMP News Network team, sent this in to us. And that gives you an idea of what heating up the processed version of the cheese versus the natural version of the cheese. And that's what that looks like.
Okay.
Do you see the natural cheese? Do you see it looking like that? Have you seen the processed cheese you've been eating? Have you seen it look like that?
I don't know if what I was eating in the 70s and 80s was processed or real, but that's what I want back.
I would think I'd lean towards it being more real.
Well, that's what I want.
Myself. That's me. Hey, yes, it was, D-Tom. It was made to do exactly that. There it is. So popped up for everybody to see. That's certainly just sent in, and I'll let the name remain anonymous. But thank you for sending that. And as you can see, that's kind of nasty. Not a good look at all. It makes you wonder what other foods have changed and that we eat and don't really know that they've changed.
I can tell you what hasn't changed.
What's that?
That's thin pepperoni from Pizza Hut.
That cheese still browns, does it not?
It is perfection in a pie. That's what it is. Oh,
man, these one-liners is dropping in here this morning. I will tell you. Listen, I want you to have this tape, and I want you to know you're perfection in a pie.
Boy.
Or maybe your pie is perfection.
I hope Dr. Mackey's ready.
Oh, man. So here we go. Let's get Dr. Mackey in. Good morning, Dr. Mackey.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys today?
Man, we are doing just fantastic. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good too. I'm ready for the 4th, ready for a good weekend. I hope it's clear and nice for us all.
I'll tell you what, I do too, and I would be willing to bet you that you are probably ready to relax a little bit and maybe just for the weekend try to put all this, 2020 out of your mind and just relax a little bit, if I had to guess?
Well, that is the absolute truth. You have guessed correctly. Just, we have no plans, no big plans, certainly not leaving the state or anything like that, but just it will be nice to have a 3-day weekend and hope everybody kind of winds down and takes all this in, but keeps their distance from one another. We certainly don't need our numbers to keep going up because we're all trying to get it to go the other direction.
That is a fact and a great point as well. Dr. Mackey, again, we appreciate you calling in this morning, and I know you've been busy. DJ and I had certainly looked forward to this call simply because I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn it over to DJ and let DJ take that part of it with him. Go ahead, DJ.
Good deal.
Good morning, Dr. Mackey.
Good morning.
I'm a little upset.
Okay, what's that?
I felt like that we had a thing, and I watched your press conference last Friday, and then Monday I'm scrolling through and I see you on CNN. And I was thinking that we should have gotten the exclusive, and I can't believe that you chose CNN over Drive Time.
Well,
I'm hurt, Dr. Mackey. I'm hurt.
Unfortunately, my fortunes went down. But I've redeemed myself, and I'm back up at the top again today.
That's it. There you go. You started off the week on a little 2-bit network called CNN, and you're going to wind it down with BMP, and we appreciate you calling in.
I'll tell you something that's even funnier. That was the third time in the last month I've been scheduled to be on CNN. The other 2 times I sat in the queue for 30 minutes, and at the end they just bumped me and said, "Yeah, we're not interviewing you today." So I really had no expectation that it would really happen this time. And when they said, "You're next up," I said, "Really? They're going to do this?" So anyway, it was fun. It was nice to do.
Well, let me say this. It's good to know then that what you have to feel encouraged that when you're sitting in the green room for Drive Time, you're coming on.
That's right. I've never been bumped by you guys.
No,
I appreciate it.
It's pretty lonely in that green room too.
Friends are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pretty lonely in that green room, isn't it, Dr. Mackey?
That is the truth. Yes, it is.
Dr. Mackey, and again, with all these things that are changing and ever changing, and certainly, as you've mentioned, and several times we've seen you talk and spoken with us in the past. It's certainly a fluid situation, but just a couple quick things, and certainly I know there's no one size fits all. I know back when we had you on a couple times ago, you had mentioned that it was kind of a y'all were looking at it from we're going to try to make it where if we do it one, it's going to be all. If we open one school or 2 or 10 or what, we're going to open all. If we close, we're going to close them all. But it does appear that again, it being a fluid situation, we certainly get it. But it does appear that has been maybe more so put to the local school districts, so to speak, or am I incorrect in saying that?
No, you're absolutely correct. So in the spring, and as you say, things are changing. So when we started out in March, as you know, the governor issued that executive order to close schools and put in the order that, basically kind of made me the czar over the way we were going to do things and close schools. Local schools still had some flexibility, and we certainly want to always keep that. But we really concentrated authority at the top, beginning with the order that came out in May, and then the one in June, and the one that becomes effective today. We've turned that responsibility, I shouldn't say we, the governor has turned that responsibility back over to local school boards. And I know that's something they feel strongly in local control, and I understand that. Is that when I was a local superintendent, I wanted to be able to call my own shots too. It's interesting though, because I get that back and forth. There's some, people want to be in control when they know what answer they want. But then we're also getting from some people, hey, we might like a little bit more control from the state level, but all that control clearly in the order, the last order, and this one that goes into effect today shifts back to local school boards. So they're to make their own rules. Now, what we have done is try to lay out some guidance and recommendations. We don't want them to trip up, so we've reminded them, hey, these are the things you legally, can't waive. You've got to do. You got to have attendance rules. You've got to offer instruction. We're strongly encouraging everybody to do both an on-campus, in-person instruction and remote. But again, that comes back to local school boards, and some of them have said, well, they may just do remote for a while and wait and see how it comes out. So I know parents are anxiously awaiting those plans. And back to what you said, though, I know that in some ways people would like to say, well, we want to do the same thing in Bruton that we're doing in Birmingham, that we're doing in Huntsville, because it makes it easier to plan. But in another way, those are three very different communities, and it's really hard to pass one statewide rule and say we're all going to do it this way. And I think that's why when we talked about that and the governor's order came out, she decided it was better to let local school boards, have that discretion.
I'll say this as well, and I'll turn it over to DJ. I reached out to Bruton City Schools Superintendent Dr. Kenneth Varner. I think you and Dr. Varner know each other. He indicated y'all known each other for several years. And,
long time.
Yeah, that's what he said. And he said that you guys, superintendents around the state have been, meeting over the last, several weeks and that kind of thing. And, he offered up some topics and things like that. One of the things I'd like to ask about is, a couple of things that he brought up to me that I probably wouldn't have, thought about. But, how will or who will be responsible for contact tracing when school starts? I mean, I know that's been some,
great question.
Yeah, some big time talk about that, and I'm very interested to see how that would work.
Yeah, so that'll be a public health function, and that finally is completely clear. Early on, there was a little confusion again as we move around. One of the things that we talked about with public health, Dr. Harris and I and our staff had a lot of conversations. He and I personally talked about it quite a bit, and that was, could we use school nurses to do contact tracing? We even talked about doing some employing them this summer, school nurses across the state as contact tracers, and so they would get used to it and would get the feel of that, and then could do that next fall. We even talked about other options. In some states, librarians are doing contact tracing, both school librarians and the community public librarians, and because they're so good at research, by the way, is why they pick librarians. But so we've looked at several options, but in the end, public health is getting a lot of support from the National Guard. They're getting a lot of support from the Alabama EMA, and they felt like it was better to leave contact tracing with their employees. So all that'll go. That'll be a public health thing. So let me give you a scenario. Your second grade student, well, let's say a high schooler, not as many children having any symptoms, but your 16-year-old is running a fever and has a dry cough. Then if you call your doctor, they're most likely in this environment, they're going to order you a COVID test. So you're going to go to a private lab or your healthcare provider, or a lab's been set up by the Department of Public Health, but they'll send you somewhere you get that test for your 16-year-old. Public Health is going to direct you that child should stay essentially in quarantine. Now, this is the current rules. It could change, but, they're supposed to stay isolated from other people until that test comes back. The test comes back negative. They treat it one way. If you still have symptoms, if you still have a fever, you may not have COVID, but you've got something. So if you still have a fever, they're going to tell you still need to stay isolated for so many days. But if the test comes back positive, then they're going to put you in in this isolation, staying away from other folks for a period of time. I think it's 10 days now. It was 14, but I think it's 10. And there's actually some caveats to that. It's either 10 or 3 days after the last day you ran fevers. And, I don't want to get into exacts, but anyway, public health will give out those directions to that person. This is what you have to do. Then, if there's that positive test, the next thing they're going to do is public health is going to talk to that family about, okay, who are all the people that this young person's been around, been exposed to in the last so many days or hours. And then they're going to take about calling and contacting those folks to just say, look, you've been exposed to a positive case or possibly exposed to a positive case, and this is what you need to do. So to make this really long story just 1 second longer, you can imagine if we had school nurses or principals trying to do what I just explained, how they wouldn't have time to do anything else.
No.
So we're thrilled that public health is taking that over because, if your principal was doing that, there'd be nobody left to run the school.
Right. That's right. Well, and that was one of the things that I was most curious about, just because of what you're saying. That seemed like it would task out a lot of resources that need to be doing other things. So, but I'm going to turn it over to DJ and let him. I'm sure he's got a question or two here.
Ask me some good questions, DJ. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Dr. Mackey, we thank you for your leadership. We've said many times on this program that all of you people who are in the positions of having to make some decisions, y'all are in tough spots. With incomplete information, there's no template to draw from. This is uncharted territory, and we think about y'all and pray for y'all daily. It's not easy spots to be in, but we do appreciate the leadership that you have shown through this, and we'll continue to do so. And we'll be thinking about you every step of the way. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
I guess my question, and it's because it hits a little closer to home, is I have a greater concern. First, I'm concerned about the problem in its entirety, but in rural communities such that we live in, when you talk about resources getting overwhelmed, that can happen sooner in a rural setting as opposed to some of the bigger areas. And this is I guess not doomsday scenario, but a worst case scenario maybe. If you had an outbreak in a 1A size school, I'll use that. Where you have maybe 120 kids or 115 kids, whatever it is. If you had an outbreak in a smaller school, and it in essence started shutting down, students are testing positive, and then teachers start testing positive. Is there a plan in place, or has there been discussion in terms of providing personnel to provide instruction? We talk about the students getting sick, but it could also happen just as easily to the teachers. And that's going to take me to a second question a little bit later. But is there a discussion ongoing about having personnel on campus?
Yeah, but that's a tough. So what you just laid out is that's one of the things that keeps me up, and that is a problem that we could face. But now let's just be honest. Not only could we face that, but we all realize that there's actually a pretty good chance we will face that.
Sure. It's inevitable, is it not?
And at some point, we're probably going to get to the place where people talk about, what do you think the governor might issue another order and close the whole state down? I certainly can't predict. She might do that if things got really bad. But then I follow that up with what you just said, right? My bigger immediate concern is not shutting the whole state down. And I'll just be honest with you, it's actually easier to shut the whole state down than to shut it down a piece at a time.
Sure.
For us. Yeah. So my real concern is that we're going to get to a place where it's just untenable in certain areas to keep school going. And so you're shutting down by default. There's no way to keep going, and you have to close down. Well, that closes down not just a school, as you know, but that could shut down the whole economy in a small town.
Sure.
If all the kids are at home, all the teachers are out. Now, as far as what would happen, we're going to have to, that's one of those, we're going to have to do an audible on the ground when that happens, because we could be in a situation where teachers are still well enough. As y'all probably know, we went out and purchased some digital curriculum. So we can, if we've got internet service, we can deliver instruction to kids' homes, but somebody's got to be in charge of that. Now, it's pretty well self-paced, but you still enroll in your local school, and you have to have touch time. It could be through Zoom or something, but you got to have touch time with that local teacher at least a couple of times a week, preferably every day.
Sure.
At least a couple of times a week. So if you got to a situation where teachers were so ill they were not even able to do that, then we might have to truly shut down for a couple of weeks, as we did in March, and then pick it back up. We're certainly hoping we don't get to that point, even if people are at home, that they're well enough that we could continue remote instruction. But we're definitely going to have issues. I talked to my colleagues in other states. There are many states that still have not determined to do anything this fall. They may just stay closed until after Christmas, and then amend next school year, and it would look, possibly just go through next summer. And so take off this semester and then go maybe the next 18 months without a break. And I understand that. I don't begrudge those governors and state superintendents that are looking at doing that. They're all up north, by the way. The southern states are all pretty much following the same mindset we are. There's just no easy answer.
Well, Dr. Mackey, when we get off the air, I'm going to text you my phone number, and if we get into one of those audible situations and you need an emergency substitute, I have 5 minors, and I speak semi-fluent Russian.
Come on, man!
So I could be a piece of the recovery process if you need me, and I would come running.
Russian?
Semi-Russian, yes, sir. Меня зовут David.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Okay, well, that is another conversation. I need to call and interview you one day.
Well, you just took that away for a rainy day, Dr. Mackey. And I remember I've got 5 minors. I'm almost qualified to do a lot of stuff.
Dr. Mackey, you're starting to understand why he was so upset that you were on CNN first. Hey, listen, we've got several questions from the viewers and the listening audience, as DJ says. How does the absentee rule and or labs work if the child or parents decide for remote learning?
So the absentee part, how that counts. Now, again, local school boards have some discretion, but if the student signs in, what we recommended, what I think most of them are going to do, is you have to sign in every day to be counted present for that day. Now, remote learning is very different from being in school. So you could, and the good thing about it, and the reason we've got hundreds of kids now that choose to do it anyway, is because you can do it on your own time. You can do it at 2 o'clock in the morning, different ways to do things. But they have to sign in every day to be counted present for that day. To get credit for the course, they have to pass the course. We actually have already in place. Several years ago, the state school board adopted a rule that said we're no longer going to do the old-fashioned Carnegie units that originated in the 20s. And the Carnegie units were based on seat time. You had to have so much time in the seat, or you failed the class. No matter what your grades were, you failed if you didn't have so much time in the seat. And we no longer have that rule. So now it is purely you pass on the merits of how you complete the course. So all that means the student could complete a course much faster, or they could take more time. But attendance is pretty easy because it's based on students logging in. Passing a course is based on competency, not seat time. And was there another part of that question? Was that covered?
No, I think that covered it. The next question is: Have you selected a statewide learning management system for remote learning, and if so, will this replace what districts may already have in place?
So we do have a statewide system. It's called Schoology. It's one of the best out there. We had already made a contract or made a deal to buy Schoology last year. It's linked to the new student information system called PowerSchool that we went through a long, tedious bid process 2 years ago and settled on PowerSchool. PowerSchool went out and bought Schoology as a company, and so we got it as a product. So the state will be providing Schoology for everybody. Now, it does not necessarily mean they have to replace their local. So there are other vendors out there. I won't try to name them all, but But I've talked to lots of superintendents that have said, look, we're comfortable using blank vendor, and we're going to keep using them for one more year, and then transition in the fall of 21 to Schoology, which is what, the state, all the state system will be on Schoology in 21. They can still keep, and even after that, they can do something else. It's like, it's truly like using your computer. If we said we're going to provide everybody with Microsoft Word to do their documents, and you say, well, I really like using MacBook Pages, you can use MacBook Pages, but then if you turn it in, you got to convert it to a Word document.
Sure.
That happens in offices all the time. So that's the kind of situation we'll be in with learning management system.
One other question. I'll turn it back over to DJ. I think this is a great question, as a matter of fact. So what is your directive, if you will, to the school systems? Would the school systems consider not requiring uniforms due to several factors? Not sure if schools will close again. Some people have lost their jobs and income has been affected, and that kind of thing. And seemed like that's a
good question.
Seemed like that's a real good a recurring question we seem to be getting.
Yeah, and we've got that question too, and it's interesting because I've gotten that question 4 or 5 times in the last couple of weeks, and all of them from Southwest Alabama. So that's a conversation that y'all are having that the rest of the state doesn't seem to be having. That's a completely local issue. I couldn't get into that. School uniforms are, they're a local decision anyway. And that, boy, I'm telling you, I've been in that battle. That can get heated. Some people love them. Some people don't.
Can we put you on
get into that?
Can we put you on the spot and ask you, are you a proponent or an opponent of school uniforms?
So I've changed my opinion. I was an opponent many years ago. All 3 of my kids went to public school in Montgomery County Public Schools, and they require uniforms. In fact, when they went to uniforms, my kids were so upset it nearly caused us a rift in the house. But I will tell you, living with uniforms was pretty nice as a parent. Now, not as state superintendent, I don't care, but as a parent, I kind of like uniforms. You wore a maroon shirt every day, or you wore a blue shirt every day, and for boys at least, you buy 6 of those shirts, 1 for each day, and a spare just in case. And it was pretty easy to get dressed in the morning. But when I was a local principal, we didn't have school uniforms. So, and I went through that fight. I had a group of parents that wanted uniforms, and it about split the community, and it was nearly 50-50. And when it came to the school board, they said, if there's not overwhelming support for it, we're not going to do it. And so we did not do uniforms. But like I say, as a parent, since then, I've done uniforms. And as a parent, I kind of like them. But I do understand this year is very different. They won't let you try on clothes in the shops anymore. And a lot of people have lost work. And so I know that's a conversation that's going on across the state. I really don't even know how many of our districts require uniforms, to tell you the truth. It's way less than half.
I know Bruton City, they do not require, but Escambia County school system, they do require uniforms. So, but you're saying that's going to be the local school level to decide.
Purely back on them. I'm going to send that question back to the local superintendent. I'm just not going to get into it.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'll give it back to DJ and let him talk more about the minors he has.
That's the way, man.
I'm an asset, Dr. Mackey. Trust me, I'm an asset. Dr. Mackey, how often are you, do you and the superintendents from all the school systems in the state, are y'all meeting weekly, bi-weekly, daily? How often are y'all in communication and sharing information?
Not nearly that often as a big group. So what we've had, so since the 1st of March, we've probably had four statewide meetings, 3 of them virtual. And then we were together a couple of weeks ago. We got everybody together, which is really hard to do and do all the social distancing, wear masks and those kind of things, but we did. And I think it was valuable to do that once, but we're now going back to webinars. So we have another webinar on Friday, and we have 3 scheduled next week, but they're not just for superintendents. So the ones next week are actually really geared toward principals and curriculum directors and superintendents too. It's hard. The problem with a webinar is it's hard to really have deep conversations. So one of the things we are doing is just having, individual conversations. I generally talk to, half a dozen or a dozen superintendents in a daytime, sometimes less. But then I have a couple of deputy superintendents, and then we have some assistant superintendents, and they are all talking to that many every day too. And so overall, we're getting lots of conversations in with superintendents.
Let me ask you this, and this is a question of ignorance from my standpoint. Do you have say-so in terms of if athletics start? How does that play out?
No, I definitely do not have any authority in that. Now we're looking. You may have heard. Y'all know y'all on the other end of the state, but Tennessee, I think just yesterday, just very recently, they just announced that they are delaying the start of football season till into September.
Spring. Yeah.
No, Tennessee's doing in September.
Okay.
And they're going to play right now. They're going to play a short fall season, a short season. Now there are some states up north that are, they're very much looking at swapping spring and fall sports. So bringing baseball and softball to this fall, and then moving football to the spring. I don't know that any states close to us are doing that, but I know that there are other states around us that are looking at delaying the season. That would take, I'm not sure. I mean, certainly the governor has the authority to do that. I don't know if the public health officer does or not, but based on what happened in Tennessee, that's actually one of the things on my list for today that I've got to find out a little more about, because I think, once things happen to any of our neighboring states, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, or Georgia, and then a little further out, usually South Carolina, if they do it, or Louisiana, if any of those states do something, then within a few hours, because we have overlapping media markets and all, we get some calls about it. So we are going to discuss what they're doing in Tennessee today. That swapping spring and fall sports, that's kind of new. I don't know if any states have declared for sure they're doing that yet, but I know some are looking at it. So I'm kind of following that too.
Sure.
So in terms of starting or stopping football season, does that come from Steve Savarese? Does that come from principals, superintendents, athletic directors? How do those decisions get made?
Well, starting and stopping the season. So the rules, so the High School Athletic Associations, Coach Savarese, they can adjust the season. I think they could say, now he couldn't do it because they have a real regimented structure where you have local principals and superintendents and coaches at the vote, but they could all vote to change the season, I believe. Okay. Or of course, like I said, it could be ordered from the governor's office. As far as like canceling the season, like we got to the point they just said, hey, we're giving up mid-October. We're not going to play any more games. I don't know who would actually have the authority to do that, but I know who does not have that authority because you're talking to it. But I assume that the schools could, like, they could vote and say we're giving it up as part of their part of the High School Athletic Association.
A few questions from the audience here, Dr. Mackey. Are the kids going to have to wear masks if they opt to go to school instead of online, that kind of thing?
Yeah, good question. Again, a local decision. So I'll tell you this: we're working, and we've got a lot of requests for that. As you probably know, I think Mobile. I'm not sure y'all are down there if they made it mandatory now, or they're talking about making a mandatory rule for masks in the city of Mobile. Montgomery has a rule. Jefferson County has a rule. There are about a dozen other smaller cities that are looking at putting those kind of rules in. For the most part, if as we read those ordinances as they come out, they apply to schools too. And the public health order says that school employees will wear face coverings as much as, and I forget the exact wording, but as much as feasible or as much as possible or something like that. So, but it just applies to adult employees, doesn't apply to visitors or students. Right now, as it stands today, about a quarter of all the students in the state are in a jurisdiction that does require face coverings. And so unless those mayors and town councils, decide to exempt the schools, those orders would probably apply. I'm not a lawyer, but that's kind of the trend, the way things are going. But it is a local decision. And then the last thing on that, of course, local school boards have the authority, just like uniforms. They have the authority to say, if you wear uniforms or not, and everybody has to follow that rule. And they have the authority to mandate face coverings if they want to.
Let me ask this question. If the masks are, mandatory, will they be provided by the school system for the students and faculty to wear?
Well, now so they don't have to be provided, but I will tell you that we're working on that right now as a state, because there's money available to the state for personal protective equipment, and I have asked for money for hand sanitizer, for facial coverings, for whatever schools might need, and we'll be making an announcement on that actually very, very, very soon. But we will be helping provide that for jurisdictions that want to do it, require it, or do it voluntary. Now, I know that's something a lot of superintendents are always also talking about, is they may not require it, but they may also say, look, if you want to wear one, you're welcome to, but certainly not forbidden.
Quick question on that subject about making an announcement soon. Can we get bumped up the ladder to where maybe the drive time email address for those press releases would be up a little, maybe just above CNN a notch or two? I mean, or at least just get on the mailing list.
I don't care how low we are. I'm going to be above CNN.
Above CNN.
I don't even know if we're on the list, but I'd sure like to send you an email that you could put us on if you don't mind.
I tell you what, you send me an email, and I'm going to share that with our communications guy, Ed Crenshaw, and I'm sure he'd love to put you on the list. I don't think CNN's actually even on the list, and I don't think they've ever requested to be on the list. So you're ahead of them already.
Well, we're requesting, and listen, and we didn't bump you on 2 different other interviews. Okay,
I know.
So we want to make sure that I'm getting that the Mobile City Council did make it mandatory last night by vote.
Okay, I thought they did, but I saw that headline this morning, and I didn't read the whole story, so it wasn't clear to me if they voted to do it or they were going to vote to do it. But I hate to cut you guys off, but I'm going to take 1 or 2 more questions because I do have to get into a meeting at 9 o'clock, and I'm not there yet.
Turn him loose.
Yeah, listen, we don't want to hold you, and certainly and know you are a busy person. The one thing I will ask that I think a lot of people would want to know, just real quick. Can you give us an idea of what the athletics, and I say athletics, I mean like extracurricular. I'm talking about band and choir and all that. Can you give us an idea of what that will look like this year?
Yeah, so I'd be glad to. Athletics right now, today, we're still planning on starting contests in August. What it's going to look like in the stadium or the gym is going to be different. And again, there's going to be some discretion locally, but I have talked to many people, and I think almost everybody agrees that they're going to have some rules in place about crowd control inside stadiums and gyms, and what that'll look like, I just don't know yet. But we're trying to. I'm working closely. You mentioned Savarese, with Coach Savarese and with the public health officer to try to come up with some at least guidelines and recommendations. I had a conversation yesterday with a lot of mayors, and they, that's something they've asked for. We know we're in charge of our towns, but we need some consistency. So we're working on that. So I think think the contest will start, but they'll look different in the fans. And again, based on what Tennessee did, it could be some talk about delay. Band, I would imagine we're going to keep having band. I don't know what those on-field performances will look like if we have on-field performances. Not saying we won't have them, but it's much more difficult for band directors to put together those intricate moves. And so some of those halftime shows, I think, are going to look different. But I do think we'll have bands, playing. Choir is going to be a tough one. Now, the choir is probably, of all the co-curricular activities out there we have, is the one I'm most concerned about, because you can put rules in place around, and try to do some things around almost everything, but you just can't do choir without opening your mouth.
No,
and
that's right.
Yeah, and when you start distancing people out all over, it's hard. Now, I'll tell you, I Sunday morning tuned into church on TV, and the choir was spaced out about not 6, they probably 10 feet apart. They only had about 8 choir members, all of whom could sing much better than I. But they did, they did a good job. It was really, really, really nice. But it's much harder to do that if you've got a choral group of 50 in a school. So there are ways to do it, but they take big spaces, and so we're real concerned about choir, because there are just not many schools that have a choir room that can accommodate what would have to be done to really space those kids out.
Right. Well, Dr. Mackey, again, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy week and day to call in and once again, give us the rundown on what's going on. And obviously, with things being as fluid as they are, I'm sure that next time we talk, we'll probably talk about a whole different set of things again.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, I would like to shoot you that email, and I will later on today. And if you could get us put on that list, we'd love to have it. That way we could keep people kind of informed of what's going on as well. And once again, thank you so much for calling in. And, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. And, we are very lucky to have someone like you leading the state school board and for our children, and let me say that for myself, as I have a child in school, and DJ does as well. So very lucky to have you, and certainly appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Mackey.
Kind of you to say. Hope y'all have a happy 4th. This country's, we've been through a lot in 220 something years and 230 something years. And we'll get through this one too.
Yes, we will. Hey, y'all have a safe 4th as well, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thank you. I'm gonna tell you what, man, and I don't care. That's a stand-up guy right there.
I think most of the people that are in already recognize this, but this guy calls in. He gets no cheat sheet. He got nothing sent to him in terms of what was going to be asked, how it was going to play out. He just gets on the phone and deals with it as it comes. And he's an impressive person.
He certainly is. And you've got to respect a guy like that who, he's talking about a fluid situation and talking about things changing on an hourly basis, but yet he takes his time to come in and sit down, call in and say, hey, look here, I can't help I was on CNN. They bumped me twice. Let me put y'all to the top.
He doesn't know it yet, but he has a political future. I mean, he's a leader. Oh, and we're in a time where our country is in need of leaders, and he's one.
Yes.
He's all right.
And I do apologize, if we didn't get to your question. I do apologize for that. I mean, they were coming fast and furious, and as you guys can probably imagine, Dr. Mackey is a pretty busy fella right now, and so we're just happy we get that he will take the time to spend with us, and talk to 2 idiots who's got cheese toast up behind them. So
one of the things that he mentioned about how if we play this year, how it's going to look different, inside the stadium. And all I can think about is there's probably going to be a need for an entity or entities that can stream events. I mean,
yeah,
with fewer people being allowed in the stadium is what it sounds like to me is probably going to happen if we're allowed to play. There's going to be a need there. So
Sure.
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. Maybe we can help the local school systems find a company that can help them with that. Maybe.
Never can tell.
You never can tell. I thought that was. I thought it was interesting. We were talking about the uniforms. You know, obviously that's a local level issue, but I do think what Jennifer in her question, I do think she made a real valid point, and that is, you know, what about the you know, the parents that have lost jobs and don't have the income, you know, to take care of uniforms. I mean, obviously these kids have other clothes at home. You know, I personally am not a uniform proponent. Okay. I mean, people may jump on me for saying that. You and I didn't go to a school when we didn't wear a uniform. And I don't mean that's better or not. I guess maybe if I'd went to a school with a uniform, I might have a different opinion of that. You know what I mean? But I just, you know, especially in times like these, that would be at the bottom of the priority list for me if I was a local superintendent, John Knott. That would be at the bottom of the list for me.
I had never thought about that in those terms. And of course, I'm not impacted by it directly. But I thought that was my favorite question, maybe, of the entire deal, because I thought
it was a strong question.
I had not thought about it along those lines, but that makes that those are valid points, and something I certainly hope that the local groups give some consideration to, because that's real.
I hope they do as well, and I'm calling on Mr. Knott to do that. John Knott and I've known John for 35 years, and Mr. Knott, if any of y'all have any contact with John, you know, I think that it would be prudent to give him that feedback, you know, to let him know that, you know, with the struggles of the economy and the struggles of our local communities and, you know, the rural areas that a lot of the kids in the county come from, that go to, you know, the W.S. Neal and Flomaton and Escambia County High School, you know, McCall, you know, I think it's something that needs to be really a hard looked at, if not so, but for just this year. But I think something needs to be looked at on that. You know, typically in the past, I know there are organizations that have come and stepped up and said, "Hey, let us help buy these uniforms." You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I know some of those organizations, but I think this year, this is just so different. I'm just not sure that that's a great thing to do. I mean, you tell me. What's your opinion on that?
I'll be honest with you. I really don't. I've never really thought about it, you know, in depth in terms of uniforms, having them or not having them. So I don't have enough information to really have an informed opinion. I guess off the cuff, I would go whatever the deal was. If we had to wear them, it'd be okay. And if we didn't, it'd be okay.
I'm looking at it from a pure economic standpoint.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming at it from.
Yeah.
You know, is you know, if you've been out of work since, you know, March, or
that's a valid point.
Or reduced, you know, your wages are reduced because of, you know, the lack of work or the lack of business, or, you know, whatever they are. You know, it should, you know, obviously everything should be taken into consideration. You know, and I just, you know, I think that, like Jesse James just said, you know, uniforms should be left to the community and revisit. I agree with that. You know, I think that it ought to be the community gets to decide whether they want their children to wear uniforms or not.
Well, I think, you know, the bigger deal to me, and I think this is what sets this apart from anything else, is we started this talking about a cheese toast combo.
And onion ring,
and a twister.
Twister.
And we have now transitioned seamlessly into real current affairs, politics, school policy. I love it. What other program offers that? CNN doesn't.
What other program offers talking to the state superintendent with cheese toast up behind them? I'm going to venture out to say none.
I don't see Wolf Blitzer doing it.
No. I hadn't seen it. I know he does it. I don't really know any of the rest of them.
I'm a big fan of Dr. Mackey.
I am too. Hey,
never met him other than
I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't have to. I know that when we do get a chance to meet him, I know that we're going to be standing in front of that's a guy right there.
You know, there's just not many people that would participate in something like this without an outline or without a cheat sheet or, you know, at least an idea of what's coming across your bow. And he just stands there and rolls with it.
Listen,
but did you notice, and I know you did you notice how as soon as the question was asked, he had information on it? He wasn't shooting from the hip.
No.
A lot of people answer and say nothing.
Sure.
He answered and gave information.
He did. Ashley made another great point. You know, until you try to buy school code approved clothing for a teenage girl, you can't appreciate uniforms.
That's what I'm saying. I can't speak to it because I've never. Yeah, I agree with that.
David Maddox said everyone needs to contact their school board representative. That's how this will be moved to the front. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go further than that. I'm calling John Knott today, and I'm going to tell him, you know, Dr. Knott, John, we had Dr. Mackey on this morning. We were talking about the school uniform issue. That seems to be a very, very, very big, I mean, as he said, as Dr. Mackey said, Southwest Alabama, this is a big issue right now. Well, guess what? Southwest Alabama has been hit hard economically.
Sure it has.
I mean, we know that every day of the week.
Absolutely.
Okay? So, you know, I'm going to tell you, the business owners and the organizations that normally have the extra cash laying around that don't mind stepping up and helping provide uniforms, provide the things that kids need. There's not a lot of those businesses are having to watch every dime right now, you know? So I think that's something that definitely needs to be looked at. Like I said, you know, I'm not trying to push our agenda on anyone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think it needs to be looked at. It needs to be addressed, you know, and what more fair way than to put it to the vote of the people? Now, I don't know how hard that is.
Well, I think there's more to it than that. I mean, if you're talking about a real vote, I mean, there's a cost that comes with that. It's a tremendous cost. You would think you could just take community input and then create policy.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like a vote, you know, state vote.
Okay.
I'm talking about, and when I say vote, I guess what I'm saying is maybe take a survey of your parents. You know, I realize kids if I feel, and I feel like this is probably right, most every kid's going to say, "Hey, we don't want uniforms."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I say put that to the parents and let the parents, you know, decide. I mean, obviously, you know, a lot of great things people say, you know, D-Man said it, you know, contact your school board representative. You know, I mean, it's just one of those, you know, things that, you know, just if you keep it in front of people enough, then, you know, something will happen.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate just for a moment, and I'm not being pro school uniform here. I'm just throwing this in the hopper to make sure people don't needlessly get their head knocked off. There has to be data. I'm assuming there has to be data. There has to be statistical evidence that shows that having school uniforms is a good thing. I mean, they wouldn't just do it to do it. I don't know what that information is, and don't know why. I don't know why it is.
Well, did you pick up on what he said? He said that less than half the state school systems require uniforms.
I did hear that.
Less than half.
Yeah.
So my thing is, and I'm like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, if uniforms made such an impact, why isn't the whole damn state doing it?
No, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying somebody somewhere had an idea that it was a good idea, and they based it off information. I would like to know what that is. And like I said, I don't know enough about it to have an informed opinion. So I don't take a stance one way or the other. That was a great question that came up with the current economic times.
It was.
Is there a waivers or something that can this be rethought? Because this is a different day. I mean, it's going to be a fluid situation. And I still think, what's it going to look like in November? Well, nobody can answer that.
No.
Nobody can answer that. So, there's a lot of moving parts here, and it's not easy. It is not easy. I do think it's important for people to, have healthy debate, healthy discussion. I don't think that anybody needs to be in attack mode, because at that point it doesn't.
Not at all. The message is lost.
Yeah, the message gets lost, and at that point, people become competitive, and you're just not going to shove it down my throat. Yeah. But I would certainly welcome a conversation.
No. When you get to that level, it becomes an issue then where the message is lost, and you're not doing any good.
Yeah.
So certainly, but a lot of great ideas have been thrown out here, a lot of comments about it. And, I'll tell you this, everybody's got a poll.
Everybody's got a poll.
We'll put up a poll in drive time after this show. School uniforms in Escambia County, Escambia County School Board or school district, school uniforms, yes or no?
Yeah.
Just a simple poll.
Sure.
And let's see how that turns out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When you're talking about data, that would be good data.
Yeah. Well, then I can say, look, we can go with some real data.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it definitely needs to be addressed. So, school board members are there to be the voice of the parents, but the parents have to tell the school board members their opinion. That's a great point, David. Great point. It's definitely going to be a different year.
Kimberly Blair makes a great point there. Those decisions were based off information from 20 years ago.
Sure.
So revisiting policy is always good. What was good 20 years ago quite possibly is not good now.
It's probably not.
And it may not be good 2 months from now, 3 months from now. So, that's all good stuff.
A lot of things have changed.
Stuff.
A lot of things have changed since then. And that's just how it is. Listen, I'm not saying, and Lori makes a good point. She loves uniforms. Girls at our school were dressing like they were going to the club. No fighting in the mornings. And that's the flip side of uniforms. But here's one problem, okay? Especially in rural school districts, you may have a family or a child. They may not have but one pair of shorts, one pair of pants, a shirt, and maybe a jacket, maybe a belt. And in this climate we're in, are you going to tell me that is going to be washed and cleaned every single day when they walk in the door?
The best point that came out of it to me was the economic side of it.
Well, sure.
Do you buy a bunch of school uniforms, the school gets closed a month from now,
you're out.
You're out.
You're out the money.
That
or,
to me,
or a month and a half.
To me,
whatever.
That's the strongest point that was made to me.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man, it's a great debate there.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm not sure that I'm not going to ask John Knott to come on the show. I'd love for him to come on the show.
Well, once again, this is a microcosm of what is going on in this world today.
It is.
Debate is good.
Sure.
Healthy debate is necessary, is needed. That's how you get to where you want to be, and that's how we become stronger as a whole. Somewhere along the way, we lost the idea that we couldn't have differing opinions about anything or everything, and we can. I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Good job, people.
Yeah. Great questions. It just it's one of those things that we you don't think about things like that. And that's what makes this community the greatest in the world. Mm-hmm. Is because we have people that think on those, and put thought into that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And
that's something that, it needs to be looked at no matter what the outcome is. It does need to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try to start that movement to get it addressed right here.
Yep.
And I'm going to call on Mr. Knott to start the dialogue with it, and let's try to get it moving in some sort of different direction if we can. I mean, that's what I think that needs to be looked at. You know what else I'm looking at?
It's that time.
The time.
Good program. Dr. Mackey's always good.
Man, and listen, we're about to be on the top of the email list.
Yes, sir. Are we going to be on it?
We're going to get, well, he may not like to me that CNN wasn't on it.
And I'm one step closer to a sub job.
Yeah, he was impressed. He was impressed with that Russian.
When I heard him say that he had deputy superintendents, did you see me sit up a little higher? I'm like, hey, man,
listen,
I can handle District 4.
He was impressed with the Russian. Did you not hear him?
No, I heard him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'd be impressed with burnt cheese toast, onion ring, one, and Twister for lunch every day.
Sounds
you can make it easy for him, couldn't you?
Sounds like a lunch of champions.
Yeah.
Give me that per diem.
We got to get out of here, man.
Oh, it's been a great Thursday. Great Thursday. Always a great time with you guys. Y'all have a good day. Be safe. Be kind. And if you have some time to waste tomorrow, get back in here and we'll do it all over again. Love y'all.